Hello YouTube, my name is Paul. I hope you're keeping well. Welcome back to another pickup video. This one has all sorts in it. The variety is the spice of life, they say. I'm pretty sure it doesn't relate to retro gaming. But anyway, yeah, I've got some Amiga titles, Spectrum, Amstrad, Commodore 64, an FM Towns title, and some Atari ST games. I've probably got 3 Grail games in this pickup video as well. One for the Mega Drive, one for an Amiga set. Within a set, if that makes any kind of sense. Another Towns game that I've been after for ages. Not an expensive game, but I've been after it for bloody ages. So pleased to have it. And another one is Victory Road. And I managed to pick up one of those nice Amstrad disc sleeves as well, from France. So yeah, quite interesting really. So I've been focusing a lot on the PlayStation, or the original PlayStation. I've picked up about 20 games, which I'll show you in a different video. But yeah, luckily the cheapest chips, I think the most expensive game I picked up for that was probably about 15 quid. I didn't realise how cheap PlayStation games were, but I want to try and get all the games I had and all the games that came out sort of in the first 2 years of launch. And if any other games are like, I don't know, games that kind of sold the system if you like, those sorts of games I'd like to have in the collection as well, but I know a few of them are quite expensive. So yeah, let's start off first with the Sinclair Spectrum. Now all these games on the Spectrum, there's only 3 of them, either Ocean or Imagine. So the first couple I got are both endorsed by Adidas. One for Adi Sneaker Freak. So Adidas Championship Tiebreak is the first one. Probably the more obscure of the 2. This one set me back 10 quid. It's not a bad game, not a bad tennis game. Not really played it. Tennis is not my thing, to be honest with you. This game also came out of the 16-bit systems as well. I recently picked it up on the Amstrad. Yeah, lovely condition. Yeah, another Ocean game to the collection. There's not many of them left to show you now, which is probably a good thing for you, but sad when you're coming towards the end of a certain collection. The other one is Adidas Championship Football, which I've shown before in a previous pickup video, but the one I had before didn't have the World in Motion cassette, which I absolutely loved. It's a very, very nostalgic tune, that, and probably one of the best football tunes released in the charts. And there's the back of the box. I think this one was only about £5. It might even been part of a bundle, which cost like next to nothing really. But yeah, lovely condition, really pleased to have that. Now just discovered that the Amstrad version of this is very, very difficult to get. So thanks to Zypho's video, I'm now after the Amstrad version of that, but yeah, it's very, very hard to find it, which is a shame. Next up then is a Grail game, the first one of the video. Now this game I've been after for ages. I've actually had it for a couple of months now. And it is probably the hardest Imagine title you can buy on the Sinclair Spectrum. That is Victory Road. I've had it on the Amstrad. Actually, I've got it on the Amstrad. I got it from Scott Brand or SEGA Zombie a little while ago. I finally picked up the Spectrum version, which seems to be the most difficult one to pick up. Now this one cost me, I think it's just under £100, which is crazy really for a Spectrum tape, but it's amazing how many Spectrum games cost at least £100. Now, there's a lot of snobbery in the old collecting scene, especially when it comes to the good old Spectrum, but it's amazing how much value is held in these games. It's bloody crazy really. So the game itself isn't great. I did a spotlight video for the Amstrad version. It's okay, but nothing special. That's it for the free Spectrum games I've got, even though I've probably got another 40 to show you, but I'll do that another time. Now next up is the Atari ST. Now next game I'm going to show you is a game I recently had and sold because it was incomplete. But I first played it on the Sinclair Spectrum, and that's Street Fighter. Nice bit of box art there, I do like that. Back of the box unfortunately has got a bit of damage at the back there. This one cost me only 10 quid. I think I sold my other one for 20 without the instructions, so I picked it up. I thought, why not? So I had it on the Spectrum. The Spectrum conversion looked quite good. It was quite jumpy in terms of movement. Had no sound, or well, very little sound. It had no atmosphere. So yeah, and this one, to be honest with you, ain't much better. Yeah, it looks better, but yeah, to play it and to listen to it, it's not the best. It's a shame really, because a lot of the old 16-bit games weren't particularly great in sort of like the mid-80s, which is mad. Next up is a conversion of an arcade game I used to love when I was younger, based on a very famous gaming character, and that's Pac-Land. I had this originally on the Spectrum, and the Spectrum version was monochrome. This version is all in colour. It resembles the arcade really well. Doesn't play quite as well as the arcade, which is to be expected, but nonetheless it's a really good game. Now I've got the badge, but I can't remember where I placed it. I think I've got all the badges and stuff like that together, so they're all in one safe place, but my one safe place is a place I'm never going to find again. Got the instructions there, as you can see on the inlay. But yeah, cracking game. I think this one only cost me £5, which is quite good. And last of all, for the ST, actually not the last game I've got another probably a dozen more to show you at some point. But that's Dogs of War by Elite. Now the Amiga version can go for quite a lot of money. Can go for anything above £50 to about £75. Whereas the ST version sent me about 25. So it came up as a buy it now. I snapped it up. I played it briefly on the Amiga though, and it's one of those games that you can either go horizontal or vertical, and it's very similar to like Commando or Akari Warriors. It's not a bad game to be honest, but I didn't spend a lot of time on it because I was crap at it. But yeah, lovely to have it in the collection. I've been after the Amiga one, but yeah, trying to get that under £50 is bloody hard work. So that's it for the Atari ST, and just before I was going to test that, my Atari ST broke, so I'm not sure if the fuse has gone in the extension lead or some bloody issue with inside the Atari ST, but until I at least try the the power lead. Sorry, with another power lead. I don't know if it's something more serious. Right, Commodore 64, there's 2 Ocean games. Now both of these games didn't get released on the Amstrad or the Sinclair Spectrum, but did come out on the Amiga and ST. The first one is WWF European Rampage. But yeah, nice cheap game, comes up quite frequently. But yeah, never come out on the other 2 8-bit systems. So Commodore 64's longevity seems to have gone on for another year compared to the other 2 machines. Comes a little baggie and cassette as per usual, in a lovely condition. I'm not sure if this was actually part of the bundle. There's a previous one I picked up for about £3, is incomplete and nowhere near in as nice a condition. So yeah, I'll probably have a bit of trouble getting rid of that, to be honest. There's someone of course wants it. Right, next up is a game that I never realised got a Commodore 64 release. So along with games like Sleepwalker, Cool World, I can't remember what the other one was. There's about half a dozen later releases that came out on the 64. Not on the Spectrum, that's Lethal Weapon. I've been playing this on the Amiga, it's some really good music. The game wasn't too bad. Reminded me a little bit of Bruce Willis film, Hudson Hawk, to play. Yeah, not bad. Please have it on the Commodore 64. I don't think I've tested either of those games, to be honest. So I must dig out the Commodore 64 and give them a go. Now next up is the Amstrad. There's 3 Amstrad games here that I'm really chuffed to have in the collection. One is well, all 3 of them are very difficult to get. I really recently discovered watching a Zypho video that Adidas Championship Football came out on the Amstrad and is really difficult to get. And I've kind of indirectly managed to get about 50 Ocean Imagine games on the Amstrad on floppy disk, which is never my intention, but now I'm kind of halfway there, I may as well continue. The first one is the Addams Family, which is in lovely condition. This one was about 45 to 50 quid from France. If you are a collector of Amstrad floppy disk games, or Amstrad games in general, France is the place to go. But yeah, it's in lovely condition. Unfortunately, it don't work. Now I'm not sure if it's because of my Amstrad, maybe I should try out my 6128 Plus and put a drive belt in there and try it on that, hopefully it works, but yeah, it don't work. It doesn't even get beyond the beginning part. You literally put the disc in, type in run, whatever, and it just says fail or cancel or whatever, which is a shame really. But yeah, I've tried to give it a clean, but that's not made any difference at all. But I will try it on a different computer. I suppose a question that keeps coming up in my mind with especially magnetic media games, do people actually mind if they don't work? Now I've sold quite a few games off recently, especially on some of the 8-bit systems, and I have put them down as parts not working, yet they still sell. It's crazy. So I guess people are kind of giving up hope on these games working, because they're never going to work forever, are they? But they're not going to work much over the next few years, because I guess the media itself is deteriorating rapidly now. So yeah, it's quite strange. I know people would not accept a broken Mega Drive game or SNES game, but they certainly would probably take in a broken magnetic media game, which I certainly have, and I'm not going to swap it out. Might be lucky to find a disc at some point, but yeah, it's a difficult game to get. Next up is another one. So this is the one I'm after for the Spectrum. I now had the 64 version, which I sold. And this kind of paid for Tank on the Amstrad 6128 or 464 as well, because it's on floppy disk. This one popped up, I snapped it up in a heartbeat, because again I've got no idea if this game is as rare on the Amstrad as it is on the Spectrum. And the Spectrum version I've only ever seen 1 or 2 copies ever in the entire time I've been collecting games. And it can go for, well, no, up to £200, which is crazy. This one set me back just over 40, I think. And it's just as diabolical on the Amstrad as it is on the Spectrum. It's got to be one of the worst arcade conversions Ocean have put out. It was done by the same guys who brought us New Zealand Story on the Spectrum. So yeah, really poor game. But pleased to have it in the collection. The Commodore 64 one seems to be the more common one. I've seen 2 or 3 Amstrad cassette versions, but I've never seen it on disc. I'm still waiting for the Spectrum version. Like the last Amstrad game I got is one of those nice, tall, slim box affairs. I bought this one as part of a bundle for £85. I think it was €85, but by the time I did the bank transfer and paid £9.50 surcharge, I got this, and that's Stallone's Cobra. Very chuffed to have it. It's a diabolical game. It really is bad. Nothing like the Spectrum version. I think it's worse even than the Commodore 64 version. But yeah, very difficult to find. I'm not really sure how many other games came out in these slim cases. I've only ever seen Never Ending Story, which I've seen about 3 or 4 times. Movie is another game I've seen, but I don't know if like the likes of Mikey came out like this, or Knight Rider or Street Hawk or anything like that. But yeah, they're very hard to come by. So I've probably got about 15 of these now, I think. But yeah, again, this was from France, so it's a place to go. I'll tell you, if you want your Amstrad stuff. Right, next up, I've got 3 Amiga games, and before that I'll show you an FM Towns game. I've been after this particular game for ages. It does come up on eBay, seldomly, but it does come up, and sometimes the sellers want about 100 quid for it. So this was listed by Sore Thumbs Retro. I'm not sure who they are, to be honest. I know some of the guys have mentioned them before. I have a shop somewhere up north, not sure exactly where. I do apologise, but that's Operation Wolf, which is probably the best home conversion I've seen. Now, one thing about the FM Towns, when you play their games, they have CD soundtracks, which is either good or bad, because it doesn't have the same sound as it had in the arcade. Well, it may have the same sound in the arcade, but it's a lot more enhanced, which kind of takes away the nostalgia from the arcade, really. So yeah, a bit of a victim of his own success. But yeah, a lot of these games usually come in a bigger box, but I know Operation Wolf doesn't. New Zealand Story doesn't. I'm sure I've seen Puzznic as well, like this. But yeah, quite a lot of Taito games made it across to the towns via Ving. So yeah, another cracking game to the collection. I don't have an FM Towns mouse though, so I want to see if it takes an Amiga or an ST mouse, because I want to give that one a good old crack. Right, next up. So 2 of these next 4 games are Grail games. They're games I've been after for ages. One I was sat on the fence over for quite some time. It can go for any kind of flipping money, depends on who's bidding on it. Unfortunately, the time I bid on it, I ended up paying, well, the most expensive game one has ever bought. Before that though, is a couple of Amiga titles. I picked that up, Apocalypse from retrogames.co.uk. He had a batch of Amiga Amiga games in. And I snapped this one up, so I've never seen this one in this kind of condition before. So this one cost me 25 quid. But the condition is lovely, it really is. I've seen it on eBay, it can go between anything between 10 and 20 quid anyway. But yeah, absolutely fantastic nick. I can barely remember it. I played it on a demo disc years ago. It's kind of like a Defender clone of some description. I think you just go along and you save the POWs and take them back to base. It's very similar to that sort of thing. But yeah, I would like to load it up and give it a go. I've not even tested it yet. I've had it for about 2 weeks, so I should get my skates on really. Next up is a Psygnosis game. In fact, the next 2 are. So the first one is a slim box game. I've already got the long box version of it. So the version I want of this game now is one with a t-shirt, and that's Shadow of the Beast 2. Probably one of the hardest games ever to grace Commodore Amiga. Again, in good condition. It's not mint. I think there's the OWL insert missing from inside the box, and I think the discs don't work. But luckily I had a couple of spares. But yeah, it's in nice nick, don't get me wrong. And this was part of a wider bundle, which I think cost me about 60 quid. So this game on its own could probably go for about £40. Yeah, really pleased to have this in the collection. But yeah, it's a brutally hard game, one I can't enjoy at all. Right, the next 2, yeah, massive games for me. So basically I've now finished my Psygnosis set. That's Arena, which is probably the most difficult Psygnosis game you can get. The crazy thing is, I've gone and ordered myself another copy. And this game very seldomly appears in the UK. So this is from Germany. I bought it from a German, I'm not sure he's a collector or what, but I bought it from him at a premium. I think it cost me around 300 quid. This game can generally go for between 150 and 2. So I paid the premium simply based on the fact I'm fed up of looking for it. So to finally put it to bed and put the Psygnosis collection to bed. I did it, and then literally a couple of weeks later, lo and behold, it turns up in the good old US of A. So I put an offer in for him. I think it come to £170. I think it's about 190 including post. Well, obviously I've got to potentially pay import tax. And this version has a special offer, enclosed a copy of Braticus, which is Psygnosis' first game. So yeah, it's in good condition. It's not mint or nothing. It's got quite a bit of crushing on the side there, as you can see. The one I bought looks better. This one is also yellowed. The other one I've got is again better, but this one is more like a special edition, whereas the other one isn't. But if you look at the colour of the manual in compared to the box, yeah, so I'm not sure the box was originally that colour, but looking at the card behind, I'm not sure if you can see it there on the spine, it is white. So yeah, it's a very difficult game to get. I'm really pleased to have it. So as a result, I will do an updated Psygnosis Amiga video now. I'll probably just redo the very first Amiga collection video I did, now every Psygnosis game within it. So really pleased to have it. Again, I did overpay for it. I wouldn't expect to pay more than 200 quid. So kind of what I paid for the American version, or the American one from America, is probably about the right price. But yeah, it's a really diabolical decathlon style game. A lot of games, probably around 86, 87 for the Amiga would have been crap anyway. A lot of them were, because the Amiga just wasn't a mainstream gaming machine. That rhymed quite well. But yeah, and I think this would have been, what, Amiga 1000 back then as well? I'm sure this is 1987. Might be 86. So you can imagine why this game didn't sell particularly well. Yes, 1986. So yeah, very hard to find, but you're more likely to find it outside the UK. So I'm in two minds whether to list the copy as soon as I get my other copy, depending on which one is better. But I definitely will be losing out. This next game, again, is an anomaly. It's a Mega Drive game. Like I said, I've had it on the budget variant for a long time now. I was in two minds whether to get it. That's by far the most expensive game I've paid for on anything. It's even beats Lakers versus Celtics by almost double what I paid for it. That's World Championship Soccer 2. Now this one cost me just shy of £2 grand. I think it was like 1800 quid or something. I'm probably shaking by the thought of actually spending that amount of money. Yeah, I did inform the missus. She didn't really give a shit, to be honest, so that was quite lucky. But so yeah, I have to sell some games to pay for that. That's kind of the philosophy at the moment. I have to slim back on some of the more common games to pay for some of these more rare games, which makes perfect sense, because if like the funds are okay again in the future, I can pick those games back up. But you can't just go and pick up that or Lakers versus Celtics. So it makes sense to do that. I'm even thinking about selling some of my CD32 games, which is probably the pride and joy collection of all the games I've got. But I do need to fund or put some funds back towards that, an arena. But yeah, crazy I know. But again, a game wasn't released over here. I think it was only released in Hungary because of licensing issues. So if you're after a full PAL UK set, that's not actually in the whole set. But I'm really pleased to have it, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's a flipping lot of money. So that's it for this month's pickup. So yeah, I thought I'd do that because actually a lot of the other games I've got are pretty standard games. I've got a few more ST, a couple of Amiga, a few more Amstrad. Got some bits and bobs I picked up from a programmer. He listed a load of stuff for charity and I picked up quite a bit of it. Unfortunately, one part of it I flipping missed because I set the flipping alarm incorrectly on my phone. But yeah, it was quite nice to get a sweater, a t-shirt, some signed games and stuff like that. So it was really good. So we'll probably do a separate video for that. We'll start getting some more videos out because I've been working probably flat out for the last couple of weeks, so I've not had a chance to create any more videos. I've been playing Metro Exodus, which is a bit of a meh kind of game because it's not as good as the first two, which I thought was fantastic on the PC. It's more of an open world game and it's a bit kind of bizarre. It doesn't seem like a lot happens in it. You can go for ages just with nothing happening. So yeah, it's not the best of games. Still haven't got around to playing Resident Evil 2 yet. I still haven't got around to playing quite a lot of my PS4 games, but I have been stuck playing Metro Exodus. So that's about it really. So my next pickup video will probably be obviously next month, and I may just go for all the PlayStation games I've picked up over the past month and probably over the next month. But besides that, I'll probably do another spotlight video. I'll definitely get the competition results out very soon because I know the competition was done about 3 months ago now, so I'm due to put up a new one. I said I'm going to do them every quarter. So yeah, so thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. I've had quite a few subscribers recently. I'll see you guys again real soon, so take care and bye for now.